my name is Chibby. I am currently a business optimization product owner for a pharmaceutical company. And my career background for the last 6 years, well, the last 4.5 years has been product strategy. And I have overall 6 years of experience in the pharma R&D industry. So to start with, I would say that as what my career probably entails is just being a clinical technology, I guess, innovation leader. So I have experience in driving strategic development and implementation of large scale product initiatives across big pharma, CROs, and clinical technology vendors. Currently, in my current role, so I'm focused right now in Pharma R&D at a large pharmaceutical company where I sit within the R&D tech organization. And my day-to-day activities are around working with the clinical operations business to find or to drive product initiatives that optimize, so as it says on the tin, optimize the way in which they're doing their business. So that could be ways that improve the operationalization of study design and delivery, right from protocol design through to patient engagement, as well as leading teams with initiatives that inspire teams to develop a positive culture around data and technology in industry. So bringing those two things in partnership together so that people can, as well as the day-to-day ongoing activities that you see in clinical operations, we're kind of merging that with what we're seeing in the world today and in the modern world today with technology, and bringing those two pieces together. So looking at how we can optimize the way that we conduct activities around clinical operations with evidence-based decision making, so using data to make better decisions, using technology to enable processes so that we are working in a more collaborative manner, we're working in a more cohesive manner, that we have more visibility and accountability and traceability into the work that we're doing, all through tech and data. So that's what my current role kind of allows me to do. So it allows me to look at various tech ideas, both internally and externally, and see how they would work and facilitate better operations within our organization. So working with the business often involves hearing problems and problem statements, and finding solutions that could be finding solutions that are kind of tech and data driven. So an example I can give is working with the business on a framework that they had built, and the framework was initially very manual. So while the framework it was a very good framework, it was a very innovative idea, but it was very manual in its operations. So due to all of the issues that you find when a process is manual, that you struggle with process adherence, you struggle with tracking information, you struggle with visibility in real time to what's going on, you struggle with having an audit trail of who's done what action, and the data and decisions behind certain actions and decisions that the data and rationale behind certain actions and decisions that are made. So in speaking with the business and understanding what they were trying to accomplish, one of the things that came about as a potential solution from a tech perspective was, why don't we implement a workflow automation tool? And what a workflow automation tool can do is it can first of all simplify the process. It takes away a lot of the manual work so that people aren't having to collaborate in Word and Excel documents, but they're doing their work in a single platform. There's a kind of a single point of truth, or single source of truth for certain information. It enables collaborative work, so you can see how each other is progressing the types of work that you're doing. It also helped to resolve some of the other problems and questions that had arisen when we were trying to investigate with the business. So things like, how do we track data and how do we track decisions if it's all manual and people are tracking and sending information via email? So this workflow automation tool was able to resolve many of these issues and these these rate limiting steps in the process and in the framework that the business was delivering. And the development of that product has been very collaborative. So we have the business supporting the design in terms of the use case, what it needs to be used for, and then tech coming from perspective of the actual, well, how do we build that out? How do we turn what you're saying into an actual product and implement that? And that's one of the ways in which, in my role, we kind of lead or drive product initiatives. So it comes from understanding what the business is trying to achieve, what the problem statements are, what the gaps are, and the gaps is very important. So what are they able to do, but they're having gaps in at the moment. What could tech do and data do to fill in those gaps? And that's kind of how we collaborate together to find solutions. So it's very much a partnership. I would say I got into tech completely by accident. So I have a degree in biochemistry and chemistry, so dual honors, and I always thought I'd work after doing a short internship at a pharmaceutical company. I always thought I'd work in big pharma, but probably in clinical operations because that's all I knew at the time. So it was either going to be clinical sciences or clinical operations. And coming out of uni, I was trying to find the best route into that type of work, whether it's like via CTA or CRA role, and then work my way up there. And I briefly worked at a pharmaceutical company within their global strategic outsourcing group. So that was mostly to do with contracting, both strategic contracts and partnerships, but also investigator contracts and things like that. And after doing that for a short stint, just under a year, I thought, where else can I go that will help me to get into clinical operations? And I stumbled across a smaller company, a clinical technology vendor that provided technology solutions. So either SaaS-based solutions or technology-enabled services to pharmaceutical companies or CROs. So basically, they just provided these solutions across Pharma R&D, and I stumbled across it, and I thought, let's try this out and see how it goes, and maybe I'll get back into clinical operations. And I absolutely loved it. So I loved the different aspects of work that it kind of exposed me to. So there was there's an area or a piece of consulting in it as well when you're working with various different customers. There's the product strategy piece that kind of allowed me to grow my skills in strategic thinking, and big picture thinking, and owning and leading larger initiatives. And then also exposed me to various areas of clinical operations and clinical research. So I was able to see how that was working and the way that the pharma industry works, and use technology to kind of to bring new ideas to the forefront, or to help them to run their processes and operations a lot better. So I basically loved that experience, and from then on it was all tech for me. Tech around pharma R&D, because it's obviously an area that I'm really interested in. But I've then, since subsequently from then, I've always held tech related roles. So whether they're delivering tech enabled services or delivering technology solutions, that's kind of been my area of expertise, and where I've continued to grow. And I've done that in various different capacities. So as I mentioned, I've done that at clinical technology vendors. I've worked for a large CRO, and then now at big pharma. So I have not really thought, well, obviously I have like a 3 to 5 year strategy. I definitely think that my area of expertise is within this industry, so the clinical research industry or pharmaceutical research industry, and my focus of delivering solutions, innovative product initiatives to big pharma to big pharma CROs and clinical technology vendors is something that I want to stick with. So pharma R&D is still my interest, but that doesn't necessarily mean I want to stick to working in big pharma. So I could go and work for a smaller clinical technology vendor at some point and see if I can think of or innovate or transform the industry from various different angles, with various different technology and data ideas.